Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
He said, "What is a slam poet?" Me. Brave. Actually, there's no such thing. It's just a name given to poets who like to play this silly game. Don't get me wrong. I've placed, I've won. I be doing my thing. I compete with others. I'm judged by many, not discrediting my writing or performance abilities by any means. I own that stage in my moment entirely. I stand next to other greats, and we translate our heartbeats into words skipping as we speak with rhythm, rhymes, and emphasis from time to time, putting our thoughts, fears, and reps in other people's hands, with hearts hurting, minds filled with questions by way of storytelling to perfection, while being mindful that every tool has the potential of being used as a weapon. Not all poets deliver factual or genuine concepts. Some messages are ego-driven, holding the attention of the audience mixed with nonsense that thrives, tied with our words, binding to the minds of the crowd. Even a quiet piece can ring loud, hoping punchlines land together, whether they sigh, laugh, cry, or get wild. It's all about who makes them feel the most. Reflect their inner child. They are who's keeping score now. Want to play a game? Check the board now. That decimal is kind of tricky. A tenth of a point holds so much mystery. And I could not ask for more. It better be a motherfucking 10 because the goal of the game is to motherfucking win. It's that simple, right? I mean, it is a competition. Opponents only. We ain't friends. No need to mention. You can ask my homie. Slam is fun, right? I promise, as soon as we're off that stage, we let bygones be bygones. Poets, please don't let 9 minutes determine who's the better writer, because it's always me versus me, you versus you. If you write your own reasons, there's no need to. Just keep doing what you do. I absolutely have no desire to make my pen lighter or delay my presence. I'm here to stay absent-minded and focus on the reason why I write. Anything else is nonsense. Page for page, story for story, moment for moment. I do this shit for me. Losing concept and logic wrapped in fantasy or dreams, imagine, create, relive my own history. Educate the audience of my experience. Fiction, fact, or opinion brings us lessons. Because at the end of the day, it's all about perspective. So to answer her question, a slam poet is brave. Shower them with love. Build each other up. Black is beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You are beautiful. And don't let nobody tell you different. Growing up, I thought my skin was a misfit. Even though my mama told me I had the richest, they still called me
Darky,
Ugly, Blackie.
from childhood through adolescence, woman to becoming a queen. A time travel of words hit me hard before the precious age of 13. Harsh enough to make history, creating a landmark of unknown beauty to me and puberty. I never imagined that my complexion would empower me and provide so much protection from all those sons of bitches, no shade, ugly.
Blackie,
Now, I'm the shit. It's chocolate drop, chocolate chip, team dark skin, Hershey kiss.
Mwah.
And my favorite, goddess.
Goddess.
It's funny now. I find being this dark lovely. Roots deep as the earth, defying all laws of gravity in and around water. Shrinkage is real. Declaring But the rest of the elements know to man. Me and my main never stood a chance in the wind. Hot cone, defeated yet again. Kinky coil snag when I untilt my crown now with a smile. How could a shade so rich be treated so fucking foul? From head to toe, I'm naturally wrapped in this melanated blanket. I'm finally cozy, comfortable. You want some? Mama said don't worry about them people. Whether it be gossip or gospel, it ain't the church, it's always the people. Mama said charity starts at home. Mama said do your homework alone. Mama said wash them dishes. Mama said look at her when she speaks so she knows you're listening. Keep your head up, eyes and heart open. Don't be the loudest one in the room. Let your silence be invoking. Mama said, I can't stand your mouth. And I'd be like, am I not my mother's child? And she'd be like, who's the mother? Who's the daughter? And when I'm really getting on her nerves, OMG, y'all, I look just like my father. And I'm a real daddy's girl. So that means I know how I should be treated. He set the standard. Only a real man can approach me and not be defeated. I was spoiled and pampered, and still, Mama said my heart would break and shit would get real. Whether it be by boy or man, loss or mistake, it is something I cannot escape. Protect it. It be fragile. Lead with your mind and spine. Be agile. You were not built to break. Allow yourself to bend and learn. Avoid getting burnt out, saving yourself with grace. Mama said, life will place you on paths meant to mold and manage. You're bound to get paper cuts, covered with band-aids or grazed by dodging a bullet. You don't have to be the target. It's almost always a stray. You'll wander with soot on the soles of your feet from walking through fire, dealing with foolishness and being finicky, seeking all desires. Acquire frost-bitten fingertips, smitten, losing yourself by falling in love. Warmth slips through your fingertips and fallen temperatures as you trust liars and are fooled by the wicked, dressed in layers with cold hearts, bundled with scarves and gloves. Baby, I need you to know that is not love. You will go through all those things just to be shown you can weather any storm. A rose risen through concrete grows the prettiest thorns. Mama said, you were made for this. There's a reason why you're born. Mama said, be you, be bold, be brave, do your thing, sweetie bird. When you hit that stage, you got a story to tell. You got a story to tell. It's a testimony, shielded with armor, shining your light so bright for the world to see. There is so much strength gained through loss and tragedy, unfortunately. Darkness will and has always existed, but we're placed in this world with light existing. So be light, be the light you were made for, and make your mama proud some more.
Tired of living in your clusterfuck of lies. You burned down this bridge too many times. Every time I try to rebuild, coughing up the debris, you talk to everyone else but me. Triggered all the fucking time. When in reality, it's excuses to let your narcissism slide. You never fucking listen, yet you tell me how to feel. Bitch, you are bugging if you think your love for me is real. All you do is drag me down just because you're too lazy to rise above. Have me sitting here fighting all of my suicidal thoughts. A bottle of liquor calling my name at the cusp, trying to fight off that inner demon you woke up. When will you finally understand? I see through all the bullshit. You can paint your red flags green. It still doesn't mean I'm going to be blinded by your unromantic scene. You break down easier than a kite in water stuck flowing upstream. Can't have sex because you make the scene too obscene. Dramatic theatrics, you set the stage. Got me here all fired up because you never take the blame. You pour venom into my empty cup, expecting me to take a drink. Telling others about your imaginary boner like it's a fascinating kink. Got me sitting here in my masculine energy when I'm actually a feminine ass bitch. Even when I told you this, you didn't take me serious. Take off your mask. I will never respect you as a man. If I ever do, it's me picturing you sucking dick because I know that's what you really want to do, boo. I feel absolutely nothing but hatred towards you. You're not even worth a fart. Let's not pretend on my birthday you slipped up and called yourself a gay man. I still haven't forgotten that feminine giggle you did on that corner with your unintroduced friend. All I get is disrespect. All I get is disrespect from you day in and day out. Spreading your web of lies and manipulation as much as white people show off their self-spray tan lines. You don't even like me. You're only attracted to my mind. You never hold yourself accountable. It's always everyone else. Look in the mirror, boo. It's time for a reality check. You must be losing your mind if you think our relationship is still on deck. My heart is officially tucked away down under. You can't hurt me anymore. Spread your bullshit to others and see how fast you truly fall. You can sit there and call me a witch with a capital B all you want. Remember, you'll always be your greatest downfall, not your family history.
When the scream from the song Smooth Criminal was played so loud out on a randomless wireless speaker, it sounded alarm bells off for the staff. But she did it as a prank. And for me, I thought someone had died. I stormed out of the house meeting to the confined backyard. This was no joking matter, yet a circus at times. One client would juggle juggling pins, hearing them clank on the sidewalk from my bedroom, not growing pains, but trying to juggle these mood swings. There was no swing, only a bird shit stained slanted gray picnic table. This was no walk in the park. There was no fountain of youth, instead a fountain full of succulents. I just wanted it all to stop. I just wanted it all to stop spinning like my head was, like how planet Earth did on the daily. I repented my existence on Earth without religiosity, since still this scorching feeling of, I'm sorry, ashamed of who I thought I'd become, a lesser version of myself. Fight, flight, fawn, freeze. Time cannot be frozen in that constant state of trauma response. However, I was unable to fight. I was unable to take flight. I was unable to freeze. Fawn felt like the temporary answer. But instead of watching nature documentaries on TV at night before more meds, after aimlessly flipping through the channels for at least 10 minutes, I landed on the sport cornhole, an inside joke, as I was making fun of their championship game because I thought they should be feeling more pathetic than I did. I wouldn't call that a sport, and my losses were greater than the distance of those tosses. The following morning, a kind woman staff member asked me the driving force of what gets me up every morning. I didn't look her in the eye, and I said firmly, I cannot be another poet who falls. I wish I could have had a different answer, but that different answer wasn't truth. This was truth, and this felt sad. Acting stoic and heroic through my pain emerged fiercely in my chest, rising high as the tides on a lunar day, becoming short of breath, needing a lifeboat on land.
When my father decided it was time to go, he left. There was no hug that could hold him. But I did make him cry. On the day he walked away, he turned back with tears in his eyes. I think in that moment, leaving me hurt. Knowing this was the forever kind of goodbye stung him a little bit. A few tears shed on a causeway for a son who was never good enough for him to stay. The phoenix refuses to rise. So we lay in the ashes, despair and I, staring at the ceiling, still not talking, still because moving only makes her hold on tighter. Anger left hours ago. He didn't turn to look, just slammed the door, and I heard the car screeching out into the night. I don't know if he'll come back this time. I wish his absence felt peaceful. Everyone here is broken because everyone here lost the fight. The fire's gone out. The air smells like loss, and I'm waiting for someone who isn't coming. I was supposed to be the second coming of my father, a scholar or a ditch digger, he would say. But I never could sit still long enough to become learned. So when they handed me a shovel, I didn't ask questions. I dug until my sweat became flames that burned flesh from bone, until my heart was charred and everything I had been was consumed. But embers left glowing return. Ashes become feathers, feathers become flames, and the phoenix flies free.
My therapist says that the disembodied voice in my head, the one that criticizes and demeans me, the one that drips judgment down my spine and poison in my ear, the one that sounds just like my mother's voice. She says it's not my mother. My therapist says that it's not fair to her or me to take all of my negativity and assign it thusly. That though my mother may have scattered the seeds, I have tended the garden. That she may have sung me to sleep to the tune of my inadequacies, but I am the choir now. That she may have taught me how to shoot the gun, but I am the one aiming it. It is my finger on that trigger. This voice in my mother also sounds like her mother before her and her mother's mother. A lamentation paid forward, a generational condemnation, beget, begat, begot, begotten, the point never forgotten. The core of us is rotten. My therapist says that not all traditions are worth keeping. Better off sweeping them under the rug than weeping through the keeping. My self-hatred may be a legacy, but you can always pawn an heirloom. She says that this voice is actually quite normal, that most people have one. I ask if it always sounds like their mother. She says, not always. I ask how others live or thrive with this poison in their minds. How do they get up each day, try their best, and still find a way to flail and fail along the thorny trail? My therapist says, I don't know. How are you doing it? To be honest, I didn't realize I was. You're here, she says, and though she makes a valid point, I still have that voice. And if it's not my mother's, whose is it? Is it mine? If the gun I was given isn't aimed at me, where should I point it? Who becomes the new target? My therapist asks why I don't just put the gun down. I'm embarrassed to say it never occurred to me.
The spotted lanternfly is an invasive species that has taken over most of the city. They aren't exactly harmful to humans in the sense that they're more likely to hurt yourself trying to get away from them. But they do feed on crops and woods at an alarming rate. When distressed, they secrete a liquid that attracts insects with stingers. And this is the best example I have of white women. Not all. Just the ones that take over spaces, crying about their own oppression while asking for a manager or calling cops on people and institutions that have always been there. Just yesterday, I stepped on a lanternfly and someone walking by says, you know, they aren't supposed to be here, but what's the harm in letting them stay? They're kind of pretty anyway. And I can't help but think it sounds a lot like gentrification, how we can learn a thing or two about getting rid of an invasive species before it becomes a problem, or a Starbucks, or another housing development we can't afford to live in, just work at, until a white woman asks, who gave you permission to be here? And if you don't comply, they release secretions from their eyes that attract insects with their stingers at the ready to get rid of you. And suddenly, you are the villain for putting your foot down, even though this is the most effective way to get rid of an invasive species. They will begin to preach nonviolence, say there has to be another way, until there's not, until your neighborhood and your spaces become their home and your prison, and you can't move without accidentally stepping on their toes, and someone says, but what's the harm in letting them stay? They look pretty, don't they?
The thing about my writing and my poetry is I ain't doing this for the popularity. You see, if my work ain't being scored fairly, I'ma question your integrity and your ability to see through the light in me that's blinding you to what real wordplay looks like to a fool. Now I want to read and hear everything that's ever come out of you, because I know your vocab is trash and that tip is dull as fuck too. See, like you can't upkeep conversation, a bunch of ums and uhs. Now we both lost in translation. You don't understand, but you spitting. Do you know any of them words by definition? And from what I've heard, the plot is missing. You wasting ink and now I'm livid. Picture half painted, so nothing is vivid. Let me break it down a little more slowly. The best writers I know are also known to read, and we do it avidly. Yet every time you open your mouth, I wish you wouldn't speak or breathe. Keep grabbing at the dictionary to fluff up your last piece. You still don't know what none of that shit mean. So I'ma raise mine, put it in between your teeth, slide my vernacular in your throat. No diddy. The last lady you want written beef with is a bitch like me, an overthinker who writes, an avid reader who bites back, 'cause at first this shit was written in jest. Then I realized I'm not joking in none of this. So I'ma say it with my chest and stand on business, 'cause it's not often I'm impressed by those who are here for a popularity contest.
I'm sick of this. I've held them all, from young to weary, from men with fists of rage to boys with trembling hands. I remember George. George, just 14 years old, child too small for my seat, feet dangled like broken roots, eyes wide with questions, seeking understanding no one dared to answer. I've been there, quiet as their last breath kissed air, wooden frame etched in history's silence, hands tied down, always seemed heavier than bodies I've carried to the other side. I watched courtroom dramas unfold, where truth bent under weight of power. They sat up on me, innocence stained by guilty hands, signed their fates with ink made of prejudice. Judges spoke, yet justice never answered. I've held bodies, but their souls? Their souls slipped away long before a switch was ever pulled. Air crackled, not just with electricity, but with weight of history, of centuries bleeding, staining my surface red, each splinter a scar, each creak a memory too heavy to bear. I am witness to pain no gavel could ever silence, to violence hidden beneath robes of those who call themselves righteous. I've carried the condemned, but never their guilt. I bear weight of whispers, names engraved deep within my framework, stories threaded throughout my grains like George Steiny Jr., Samuel Howes, Mary Turner, Purvious Payne, Troy Davis, Marcellus Williams, faces I'll never forget, their lives tangled in fibers of my timbers, their tears bloodied and heavy, wove into my worn frame, etching stories no one dared to hear. Each drop a testament, each stain a scar left by a justice unserved, and I'm bound to hold them all. Through trials skewed and verdicts swift, I've been silent keeper. Last touch felt, first to let go when they passed. Yet here I stand, unchanged, unfeeling, forever bound by unforgiven memories no fire could ever cleanse, and no judge could ever erase. What am I?
Just superstition. What's the definition of good and evil? Guilty people packed into steeples, praying to their God, finger crossed. What comes next? Redemption from the DEVIL. I don't want to go to hell. God, please save me from myself. Big crosses, big crystals, big onks. I'm a big kid now, kissed by a succubus, gifts for the ancestors, drowned by a Baptist, knocked out by a hypnotist, redeemed by an exorcist. Don't tell Sky Mama I did this. I'll go to hell for this. Then again, it's just superstition. Just superstition. Superstition just kill you. You don't believe it, but they do. Nailed to the cross like the Bible. Blood sacrificed like an ancient tribe. Not so modern warfare. Praying to their God they survive. Which path is right? The cross or the Ankh? The pentacle or the Bible? Sacred symbols too complex to decipher. They all look the same without glasses. I rinse out my eyes and I can't tell the difference. It doesn't matter your religious preference. As long as you don't worship Satan and pay your taxes. Because at the end of the day, we're all God's children.
All right, y'all, I need help with this poem. So think of a word, hold it in your head, raise your hand when you got it, and I'll point to you when it's time to say it. My Uncle Bob reached the rank of Master Sergeant in the United States Air Force, stationed for 12 years in the Alaskan wilderness, and he loved those woods. Was a drill instructor with a booming voice, and he hated those words. What civilians call a snitch, my uncle called a blue falcon. My uncle never made bus ramps out of other men's bodies. Master Sergeant Ross always took the heat. If we can't find a way, no one can. So can you please place your tiny little nuts in your hands, drink a rousing cup of nut up, and move? Oh, Ross was the best screamer in the military. Knelt down beside a young man struggling to carry a pack. Son, one day you're going to get out of here and find that your dog has aged more than you have. Burying that dog will be hard. You will live long enough to see your parents pass away. Oh, it's a hard thing to bury a mother, but it's a hell no mother should ever have to bear to bury her boy's son. You will find a woman who can walk through stone walls to promise your life away to a new code of conduct. You will learn to play tennis and give up playing catch. You will hold hands with fear, wondering who's going to bury who. Oh, son, back home there are hard things coming. But today, I ain't asking you to bury your dog, mother, or your wife. All I'm asking is you to grab this pack and carry it up that damn hill. On that day, he swore that if he ever made it home, he would never swear at anyone ever again. He was going to be the answer to what do you do with a dismantled machine gun? Is there something stronger than a man's rage? Where do you go when you aren't full battle rattle ready? Can you military action landscapes onto canvas? My uncle wasn't a great painter, but he was fast. Showed the world that the magic wasn't in the boom of his vocabulary or the landscapes that we walk through. The magic is in all of us. Every creative ain't great, but every creator can make a masterpiece out of their life. It takes courage to grace your tongue in quietness. faith that there is a whisper stronger than any scream. He field stripped his heart onto canvas for the world to see, that you are all grunts by association. Battle buddies for the work ahead of us. Never doubt that your peace will outpace their hate. Know how important you are. Remember what the generations did to get you here. My Uncle Bob started off his show on PBS by saying hello. I'm Bob Ross, and welcome to the joys of painting. I carry his legacy in my language, and I say hello. My name's SideKick, and welcome to the joys of poetry. There are no mistakes here, only happy little.
My purpose to exist is to shine a light, regardless of if my body feels dim or bright. My purpose is rooted from my soul. Not all will be willing or wanting to know. My purpose is to speak up for my journey, learning to never feel less worthy. Not all will understand my empathetic lens. My purpose, that is, to go against the trends. My purpose is emotionally centered. At times, others will see me as off-center. While I'm trying to share my energy or voice, some will view this as me making noise. I advocate for my journey, valuing my worth, understanding that not all will grasp what I bring forth. My voice is to challenge the norms, learning to boldly speak, learning that not all will find the comfort they seek. My purpose is guided by emotion, facing occasional disdain. When I share my energy or thoughts, some dismiss this in vain. Compassion is the essence of my being, despite attempts to confine. My experiences have shown me varied struggles, helping me to align. I embrace my continual growth, even under critical eyes, claiming my space, granting myself the kindness to rise. Yet, I persist in radiating my light, despite any dismay or fear, speaking from my heart, even if it means some may not adhere.
Doldrums playing on the beats, shoved in my ears to drown out noise. Ocean sounds in my beats help insomniacs deep sleep. Drop dead sea, drop dead, not gorgeous. When this human is finally at rest, but you think you are compelled by Christ to speak or make a sound to rouse me. You need to tread lightly, do not tread on me. It's clear for all to see what is needed, yet drop dead is playing on repeat in my head. When you need to speak good morning, afternoon, or night, when I have said it without words to an empty room, you bring doom, gloom upon yourself. When you turn on the light, can't read the room, drop dead a-hole for waking me with your nonsensical Muppet vibe, for the lack of life in your eyes, projecting your agenda on mine. You speed full throttle ahead with no driver's license. Can't you see I'm sleep deprived? And then you walk away, feet pounding floor with the force of an army like nothing, to complete your mission of making me hate your presence on this earth, to do whatever it is you do when you awake at the crack of dawn to start your day. You have done no favors to the rest of us who want to stay unconscious. Drop dead is my happy place, where I don't have to be handed one more problem, as you never tire of passing them off on to me or any captive audience body with a pulse, so you can be mindlessly happy, so you can go dance with yourself or adjacent to anyone with a pulse till you're out of tune, while leaving the wreckage of your missteps dumpster fire life in your wake. No social graces, drop dead. Can you blow your nose any louder? Signaling final resting place about to cease. Cacophony is about to commence. Become the leader of the band marching down the street to Wawa to get your coffee and breakfast sandwich. Then hurry back home so you can start it all again. When won't this be my life? The years pass me by. I just get older and weary to the facts but I continue to not get this right.
Life is like shaking up an unmarked box of puzzle pieces, ready to start a journey of connecting and reflecting. No image to mimic on display, no number indicating how many parts we'll use creating the perfect picture of progress. Life is what we make it. Life is give and take, and sometimes the taking seems like it's meant to displace us. It's not. Every beginning has an end, and it always starts with me. Every beginning has an end, and it always starts with me, you, all of us. So trust the process of everything in your life, and remember, you are the most important piece that makes everything complete when finding peace. Love and complete.
Pixies and fiery chicken wings. I saw the supposedly stable minds of these staff members marked by other individuals' traumas, but still, I was doubting possibility of equilibrium in their minds, shattering the window of tolerance countless times were wounded people, but also some powerful geniuses facing such extreme emotions and have such force to break it, was ignorantly set fire with each step, and literally them, the ignorant folk, blindsided by their beliefs, having no tolerance for the LGBTQIA plus community, who have the mentality of crash and burn, superficial slack-wearing imposters and money-hungry eyes imitating dollar signs. Who would you rather have on your side? People believing in the possibilities of pixies spiting mortals, or oxymorons of hateful lovers, who have not simply visited this world, but who tried to run away from visitation, like the one I know personally with those distant eyes, and I would not trade places with them. Who says completely stable minds are a thing? Some are drug-free, but still fucked up, having done no ecstasy nor LSD, but still can write psychedelically. No magic mushrooms needed here. I'm with you in spirit is what I wanted to hear. I'm with you in this full house, but no, I'm alone. They're with her in the backyard. The delivery man, he brought chicken wings here on demand. She who DoorDashed a family size order. I was at the one at the door to pick it up, the brown bag, skin and bones and no heart. I filled with emptiness, just a witness to laughter as I sunk further. Allen Ginsberg once wrote, "This actually happened," and I concurred.
How can I let you see the demon who lives inside of me? If you stand close enough, will you hear what he whispers? How can I let him smile at you when I know what that grin does to me? If I were to reach for your hand right now, would it be my fingers finding you or his? I saw a vision of my parents as I imagined them as a child, like smiling ghosts at the end of the film. And all was good and all was forgiven, and my heart leapt like finding home at last, like recognizing the face of a loved one, like something real instead of phantoms, instead of the dreams of little boys, instead of something I created to try to make some sense of my broken family. Dancing demons kick dust into clouds of little knives that hang in the howling air full of notes, running backwards, awkwards, upside down. I went back to a place I'd lived before, fully expecting to find a haunted house, but there was nothing. I found out the river came one day and took all the houses and the street. And if there were any ghosts, they must have been swept away. The sky isn't quite so red these days here in the Demon City. It's still always third shift, but it ends 5 minutes earlier on Thursdays in odd-numbered months. The witch doctor shakes, standing by the dying fire and wonders what value he has when his staff is broken and the dust in his bag was long ago spent. No farmer, miller, smith, or haberdasher, he cannot count more than the holy numbers. He doesn't know how to calm a horse or weave a basket. He isn't the best dancer in town, and he's only ever read scripture. He's never dug a ditch or bound a wound, never carried water from the well, never baked bread. He has never circled his opponent with a bronze sword clutched in his iron grip, waiting for the metallic tang of blood in his teeth. The witch doctor trembles, standing by the dying fire, and wonders what value he has now that his staff is broken and the dust in his bag was long ago spent. The devil fancies himself a poet. Endless verses slip like serpents from his lips, spitting lyrics.
We drove to the red palm tree at least once a week. Pilgrimages to nowhere. To garish decorations for those with more money than taste. In the middle of suburban enclaves, made of dozens of variations of the same uninspired architecture. Copy-paste, copy-paste, copy-pasted into a field that was once full of yield before it was eaten by suburban sprawl. A field that now grows only upper middle class ennui. Upper middle class ennui, and at one point, a 2-story tall red palm tree. No one knows who found it, only when. Nights that had been spent driving aimlessly suddenly had purpose. Spent in pilgrimage, parking on a street, many tax brackets above our own to confess our tender fears and nascent dreams in hushed voices under the glow of a tacky neon palm tree. We were all old enough to drink, mostly, but not drive. Not that that stopped us. Though we never drove drunk, Mad commercials raised us well. So we drank and we drove, but not at the same time, though sometimes the same night. Intimate after parties in battered sedans with confessions made sloppy through the haze of cheap tequila, seeking guidance in someone else's backyard kitsch. Our Christ the Redeemer, our Notre Dame, our sanctuary in a chaotic world without center. It's gone now, the tree. I went back last year. The house still stands, utterly unremarkable, made more so by the missing electric foliage. Gone like it never existed. Gone like our friendships. Folded, for the most part, lovingly, packed into chests with mothballs and memories. I can't recall any specific conversation I had in the halo of the tacky light pollution, but I recall them all at once, all the same. Silent streets and earnest whispers and big feelings and small worries and neon palm trees, forever and endless. Until a light would go on in the house and we would cackle and gun the engine as we drove away, our laughter drifting behind us, mingling with the exhaust as it hung in the air. Certain that we would return, certain that the tree would stand, certain that this was not the last time that we would see it grow small in our rearview mirror. Until it was, and we didn't even know it at the time.
They don't want to hear my bullshit poems anymore. They just want to hear erotica. So here is a poem about fucking. Bent over, ass up, hair pulling and back breaking, can't make it to work the next day type of fucking. It's okay. I'll pay your bills as long as you enjoy your ass in section 8. Wrap my hands tightly around your neck until you scream, I can't breathe. Do not worry about a Trojan or morning after pill. I have shot up so many clubs and schools and still father no children. But you can call me daddy. If you're really into freaky stuff, I'll take a shit on your dreams. Bondage is my foreplay. I got a history that makes handcuffs seem tame. You know, whips and chains. You might think it's strange, but my rope play will have you feeling like fruit. We're not in love, just hanging. I want you to feel satisfied, so I got this electronic transaction for your benefit. That's that EBT love. No safe words here. No justice, no peace. All jokes aside, it's genocide the way I be killing it. No conviction. I'll still give you this penalty spread out like a ball of ego from my ego. I take you to new heights. Remove your affirmative actions and call it consent. They say if you don't fight back hard enough, it's because you want it. And you want this, every bit of it. Wake up to do it all over again. Another round, another trial, just another day being fucked by your American government.
Dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is two. Yeah, I want two chicks. One because I was nice, but I like naughty shit. So here go my wish list. Nah, I can't make this quick. This some real detailed shit. Come here, let me whisper it. Picture this, a seasonal kiss. I want two sets of two lips, two women that's real thick. Make sure they know tricks. Xbox, let me hold the stick. A night with a dick is unlimited, pushing the limits and just allow me to paint the scene. Two black queens, Donder in purple and green, with activated dopamine, meatier than protein, biggest booties I ever seen, calves like they track fiends, skin like them near Moxine, Cupid and Katniss Everdeen, sniper position like the Marines, ready to suck them both clean, oxtail bone and bodgaline. Cause I like to be dined, both drinkable like fine wine. Energies are intertwined, moving with both like we busting rhymes. I need them like Rudolph, the Wilma kind, like the way this idea been running on my mind. Santa, can you tell I've been taking my time? I need them real shapely, in panties that say spank me. Gatsby as I handle them greatly. The neighbors finna hate me, cause I swear I'm a gatekeep. Cause I got them dungeon dragons, plenty in the arsenal to handle them wagons. Santa, just imagine nights filled with bussin' backsin'. The way this tongue be lasting, I be speaking that dead Latin. Sand skirt smoother than satin, silkier than jasmine and Aladdin. With that knee, Disney plus the strap, after tonight, ain't no coming back. From the way we be morphing and releasing endorphins, multiple O's for that oxytocin, like Maui in Moana's ocean, we boasting while putting them pussies in motion. Santa, I've been good all year. Are you listening? I'm trying to fuck them both in my kitchen while getting this blitzing. I deserve two vixens. Give me that sweet life. That London Tipton. Two pussies that are soaked and glistening. Ready for pleasure. Hand me the ribbon and let me measure. Now they tethered. Presented together, making me wetter and wetter. And I promise next year I'll do better because everything is better with leather. Santa, I've been plotting and scheming. So while they tag teaming, I'm gonna get even like Steven. Back shots and heavy breathing, muffled moans and screaming. Edge Lord unleashing demons. Gordon as I'm serving heathens. They scratching as I deepen. Harriet in water. Release the seaman. I mean the freeman, cause 'tis the season to roll up my sleeves in. Santa, just rename me Prancer and give me two personal dancers and let us flow like Kansas. Spitting this ancient banter, I'm a professional romancer. On Venus, 2 feet planted. Suddenly, I'm both handed, hooked in Jumanji, implanted, comet spreading, Queen's gambit, chest to chest, bishops slanted. These hands especially crafted to inspect her gadgets, cupboards blown like Clayton's gasket, cause pretty pussies deserve open caskets. Eating groceries, I'm a soul snatcher. Handle this pack like a backdoor dasher. Spreading them on a platter, conversing like the Mad Hatter. We busting nuts and moves like Jagger. Crown slipping while we humping. Pussy pillaging and plundering. I'm real Chris with my discovering. Watching them come undone again. So yeah, I want two chicks. Santa, you not new to this.
I was born a blank page, left in cradle of my mother who penned her absence like silent footnotes in a story she never intended to read. Commas erased before I could speak my first line. Her absence was my first line break I couldn't feel. At 8, my trust was splintered like shadow in guise of kin. Uncle's hands heavy as syllables carved into pages I was too young to read. I tried to erase lines, bury them deep within unwritten margins. His touch became invisible ink stains, scarred for life, etching silence where laughter was meant to thrive, unable to smudge away an unerasable script, unerasable script written on pages of my body. By 14, I was drowning in verse too dark to recite, pressed to edges, flirting with finality like it was freedom's last verse. Tried to draft my own ending, but ink wouldn't settle. Life pulled me back, mid sentence, unwilling to let me punctuate. Again, at 17, I held my breath at the same edge, whispered into void, but it spit me back out once again, unfinished. 19 brought a flicker of hope, heartbeat nesting beneath my own stanza, waiting to take breath. Just before his first inhale, life took my father's last exhale, leaving me holding half a story. His silence, an unwritten chapter I can never read. Now I bleed ink, spilling words, aching with memories, each metaphor a bruise, referring to refusing to fade, scar a verse I had never wanted to write, every breath taken becoming another word in this lifelong poem. In their depths, I find strength to returning. I find strength to keep turning sorrow into stanzas, lost into lyrics. I don't know if pain was worth the art, but I do know more tears will come, and so will my poetry.
I only yield to the sun and the moon. Can't nobody tell me what to do. My religion is the triple truth. The maiden, crone, and mother ain't raised no fool. So tell me why they lie in the news and tell the truth in mythology. The ancestors come back as you and me. The phoenix is a reality. Tell me why they lie with hyperbole, then tell the truth in hairy pottery, presently performing sorcery to flip the pages of this poetry. Every woman is a witch, and every man is a genie. Don't believe me? Just look at patriarchy society making wishes to Jesus. Tell me why the truth is overlooked, and they tell the truth in comic books. An open mind is all it took. Or is it an open book? The truth is stranger than fiction? Or is it the other way around, in a patriarchy upside down like hanged man? Tell me why they lie all 4 seasons, rain, sleet, or snow, like pharaoh rods, then tell the truth in tarot cards. The terror never stops. Fear is all it took to overlook the luxury of freedom and flip humanity upside down like reading a book backwards. De-evolution. The devil is the conclusion. Corruption is his weapon. Blood in the water attracts sharks. A world run by apex predators that hide in the dark, too smart to come to the light. Tell me why. Tell me why they practice lying in the mirror and why the truth appears when nobody's looking. I said, tell me why they practice lying in the mirror and the truth appears when nobody's looking. I guess that makes the truth a master of off-screen stealth. Can I get a witness? I know someone's gotta feel this.
Shia LaBeouf means the beef. Yet they still act surprised when it's always a fight. Shia, the honey boy, with a Mongol biker for a father, was born an outlaw. Disney saw the magic in another young body, but magic always requires blood, doesn't it? Their dark side was never properly shown on film. It's in the contract. And despite them making every payment, no, we ain't even close to even Steven. When these boys and girls bring in all the money, you only ask, how much more can we milk from this family before we move on to the next horse? Shia would be welcomed into a proud family, but never share the last name, and then transform into a heartache. He is not the jerk in the cartoon. Home, it's just a character. But he transforms into the cause of all the holes in this desert wasteland. There is buried treasure out here, y'all. when redemption rain falls in Stanley and a zero dance in an ecstasy of anticipation of an escape, Shia almost believed that he could be free and then cut, transform, once again for the great game ever played, golfing, with the gumption to make us believe that a young man can elevate beyond his destiny, yells cut. He's beginning to learn two things. One, there is always a rain scene, y'all. If you want to show passion, this whole story was actually written in the rain. I wrote this poem soaking wet. And then number two, there will always be a cut before you get to walk off into the sunset. Catch the river of your potential surfs up. You pretending penguin cut, transform. Let's take an interview. We'll see how far we can go and get into this crystal skull. Indiana Jones plays for your destiny of another family, maybe a father figure for once. Wait, it's just a movie. We didn't say cut. If you want to be in the Peanut Butter Falcon, sign the contract, boy. Then we can be in the name of a cut real movie. Let's get into it right this time. There's lawless behavior has started to be called out by the sisters you shared that stage with when they call these girls liars, when we call these women girls, your fury, already ready to blaze their revenge of these fallen actors onto the landscape of bad actors. Cut, transform, what am I becoming? Cut, transform, when how could you sign the cut contract rock bottom when he rise? How many bodies will we find below us as it becomes a father to raise the next generation? Cut.
Water, a beautiful element that sustains life across Mother Earth, enhancing the texture of other elements like rocks and dirt. It is a source of immense power that is able to nurture even the most delicate flower. Water cleanses all beings in a myriad of ways, manifesting in diverse shapes throughout the days. Each phase provides essential nourishment to the present, though some forms might seem momentarily unpleasant. Water can erode even the hardest rock. Its formidable power often comes as a shock. It shapes mountains, both above and beneath the sea, creating beauty worldwide for all to see. Water's beauty rivals its boundless might, designed by the divine to shine, nurture, and excite. It spreads healing energy through its endless power, caring for all from humble roots to ancient towers. Water perseveres, though often drained, resisting the harm and constraints we've ordained. It appears in forms both humble and grand, from underground springs to storms that sweep the land. Honoring its nature, both beauty and force, calls us to protect and nurture its course. Cleansing the earth in its cycle of rebirth, we must cherish and respect water's true worth.
What right do I have as a white privileged grown woman to feel sad about anything? Watching hatred of everybody and everything during wars that we have no business being in, who holds them accountable? Children dying, populations being erased, Hitler wannabes perpetuating a master race. I don't belong here. I don't want to belong here. Spent 10 years of my life caring for other people's children. I was so careful trying to protect mine. I am a failure at caring because I cared too much. I'm a failure at trying to be everything that I'm not. I am coming to grips with the guilt and shame of generational trauma and taking the blame for everything that is wrong with the world. With every madman who comes to power, I am guilty by association. I am guilty by the lack of virtue of my lineage and lack of melanin in my skin. The spirits of my relatives lay rotting in earth where they belong. The only thing they've done for me was pass on their cursed genetic pool. Their twisted thinking is what got us here. They thought they were better than everyone else. They thought they were entitled to advance from the primordial soup where all humans are birthed from. We are brothers and sisters, estranged. Our inheritance is amnesia.